Hi and welcome everyone. It's September 23rd. Thank you for joining today's Tech Talk. My name is Detiana Gibbons and I'm with JTB Business Travel hosting today's session. As you may know, Tech Talks take place monthly, and this particular session is part 2 out of 3 in our series focusing on how technology is helping our travelers confidently return to travel. So last month we got to chatting with Cerium, and today we're hanging out with Tripkicks. We know that the travel environment is constantly changing, and as your travel management company and partner, our job here is to highlight what you as a traveler or a travel manager can do to navigate this new landscape. So we'll continue to host sessions once a month, as you may have seen in the other in your registration link. So please continue to join us for these inside looks that our tech partners and industry leaders are offering. You definitely don't want to miss it. I know by now we have a lot of experts at attending web sessions, but just so we're all on the same page, we have a few housekeeping rules. So today's session's in listen only mode, but please participate because we want to hear what kind of questions that you have. We're interested in what you want to know about Tripkicks, so please ask away. I hope to have covered a lot of FAQs, but send anything that you think of. You can use the chat questions to us in the box right under the audio in your GoToWebinar control panel. So if you want to chat over a quick hello, let me know where you're calling in from, just so that we know you know where that box is. And this session is being recorded, so you can always access our digital library on our JTB Business Travel website. Maybe you have a colleague that couldn't join today, or you want them to see how your company might benefit from Tripkicks. Please feel free to share this with them. At this point, I'm pleased to introduce our special guest for today. We're happy to introduce Steve Newton. He's head of sales over at Tripkicks. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, Tatiana, thank you so much for having me on JTB's Travel Tech Talk. Super excited to be here, and the whole team is excited about our new partnership. So thanks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting 30 minutes together while we chat. Can you just share and tell our listeners a little bit about your experience at Tripkicks? What's a normal workday look like for you?
You know, the greatest thing about my experience is there's no normal workday, but right now it's a lot of meeting with travel managers at companies that are looking to restart their programs and looking for, new ways to do that. So it's a little chaotic at times, lots of different things pulling you different directions, but I love it and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's awesome. Organized chaos.
That's
And
right.
so have you always been in travel? What's your background like?
Yeah, so I've been at Tripkicks for almost 3 years now. I was brought in to lead our sales and kind of our growth strategy. Before that, I was actually I led sales at Xerox for a number of years, and I got the opportunity to join the Tripkicks team. And it's in an industry, travel industry, I've never really worked in before, so I leaped at that opportunity. And I really loved every moment of it so far.
And you told me that you are a travel enthusiast. So although, a newbie in this field, what's your favorite travel destination that you've been to?
Oh my gosh, it's a super actually easy question for me. I went to Bangkok for the first time like a year before COVID, and all I'm thinking about is how do I get back and when can I get back? So I
Yeah.
loved it.
We'll be dreaming about Thai food and getting back to the nice beaches one day.
Coconut curry, everything, yes.
Yeah. So just to give our listeners a little background on my end, I've been with JTB for almost 4 years now. A fun fact though, one of my first internships was in high school at JTB back in Jersey. I was separating invoices from the yellows and the pink copies and the white copies. But now I've worked here on a team called Travel Technology Solutions and specifically within a team called Online Booking Services. And I have to say, when using Tripkicks, it's been amazing, and anytime a client sees it, they're instantly happy. So I can't wait for you to share with everyone all the details. But before we jump into that, we'd like to introduce our general manager here, and he's going to tell us about new services and new choices and what to expect coming out with JTB.
Thank you, Tatiana, and thank you, Steve, for joining us here today. I know we have a couple of things in common. I know that you love to travel too. It's one of the reasons why you made that switch. You told me we both thrive well in this unorganized chaos, and I love Thai food too. But coming back to that chaos, our world has been in sort of a chaotic state lately. So we're really pleased with partnerships with technology providers like Tripkicks that help our travelers to navigate some of the chaos that is surrounding travel nowadays. So actually, JTB was in the news this week where we announced also the partnership with Tripkicks. So I can't wait to hear more from you about how this will bring great benefits to our travelers. We're also started a new partnership with Sherpa. It will come up today too, but Sherpa is really going to help your travelers to navigate all those restrictions that are still out there and are likely to be out there for quite a while. So you'll see this come up in your travel itinerary, where your travelers can easily also check after the booking process what kind of restrictions may be in place for their destinations. There's access to it on our website, but also integrated into the travel process. There are points where we will remind our travelers to make sure they've checked regarding the restrictions. And talking more about helping to navigate difficult situations. Next time we're going to talk on Tech Talks about risk management, and we have a great partnership with Crisis 24. And if you want to know where your travelers are, if you want to be the first to know if something happens that may impact the safety of your travelers, then I definitely think this is a great opportunity for you to listen in, where we'll share more about our partnership with Crisis 24, about great add-ons we have for you to really have that insight into where your travelers are and what's happening. So great new services, more choices for you, more to come. So stay tuned, and I won't take up more time because I really can't wait to hear more from Steve. So back to you, Tatiana.
Okay, thanks so much, Kurt. Before we get into it, let's launch our first poll. We want to keep everyone engaged. So if you see that pop up on your screen, the poll, please fill in. In what ways has your company implemented sources to help you return to travel safely? And so, Steve, on your end, are you seeing a rise in the number of clients now more than ever? Because Tripkicks, right, one of their new pillars has been the insights part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of exciting to see, in a lot of programs, it's coming back even a little bit sooner than they anticipated. Obviously, a few speed bumps along the way. The Delta variant has, impacted some of that, but it's definitely coming back. It's still kind of growing from that, I think, trickle phase back, but every day I talk to, more programs who are seeing an increase in travelers back on the road.
Okay, awesome. So it does seem like, the majority of our clients listening in do have some kind of internal resources. But I think when we talk about Tripkicks, perhaps we can alleviate some of that responsibilities from their plate and look to the experts for that, like Tripkicks. So, Steve, I know that we were chatting before, and Tripkicks and how they started and how they evolved to suit the needs that came up during COVID. I think your story is the ultimate turn lemons into lemonade story, or maybe margaritas. But can you tell us a little bit about how Tripkicks started and where you guys are today?
Yeah, it's been an exciting journey. We started back in 2017. We were really a tool to help companies save money and focus on enhancing the traveler experience. Our product back then was all about incentivizing travelers to save their company money. So travelers could earn rewards for, simply booking a less expensive trip, or if they were able to go above and beyond. And maybe that's like they're traveling to New York and mom lives in New York, so instead of getting a hotel, I'm gonna, stay with mom. And our secret sauce with our company from day one really has been that we've built everything just highly customizable. We've built it in a way that's just really easy for big organizations to come on board and deploy our product. So we began focusing on ways for travel programs to achieve compliance goals that they had and things related to their company initiatives like sustainability. March 2020 came around. We were preparing for Concur Fusion in Orlando.
Yes, I remember that. I was so excited. We're like, let's book our flights. We'll be near the beach and everything like that.
Yes, we were so excited just because we love the event, and we were going to announce some really cool new features around like carbon offsets and sustainability. And of course, Fusion was canceled. COVID happened, the world shut down, right? But our company still went to Orlando. This was before the time of cancellation fees being removed. And so we still went, and we had like a company planning event. The entire week was a company planning session, and that's where we built the framework for our new product and our new Tripkicks.
So you really had a light bulb moment then in Orlando, and I remember thinking Concur Fusion would never be canceled, and here we are, two virtual fusions so far, right?
Yeah. And at that moment, like, there were so many unknowns. Like, we didn't know what COVID was going to become, obviously how bad that it would end up being. But the one thing that we were pretty confident on was that travelers would need more information, right? More data when they went to book a trip. And that's something that's not something new for COVID, right? Like, travelers have always needed more information to make the best decisions. So we tried to build a product that was in line with that. Obviously, being able to speak to the new COVID protocols that would be in effect, but also just, every way to empower travelers with all the information they need to have a better trip.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much new regulations and requirements, and have it as an integrated tool is going to be really a game changer, I think, for helping travelers feel empowered when making arrangements. So how are you seeing other companies, pivoting in your interactions with them?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I feel like all companies are trying to, find ways to align their priorities with some of the new and some of the classic problems and priorities of the clients that we speak to. I think it's been interesting to see that, for larger companies, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to kind of make that pivot and, be able to offer new solutions. It's one of the things that it's really been honestly great for the Tripkicks team, is that we're able to kind of, quickly, as you mentioned, make that adjustment and that pivot, and really focus on these new, just really high priority items that clients are facing. Tatiana, I cannot hear you. Oh.
Oh, I see. I was saying that we're so happy, right, that we're able to support our clients with technology partners like Tripkicks and to make them feel confident. So, your company was able to solve a problem right as COVID has emerged. What other trends are you seeing, and do you have a pulse on? Because I know that we had talked about price being ultimately, a big focus, but things are shifting, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. The biggest thing that we've seen, and actually I really appreciate the question, because we've met with so many travel managers over the past year and a half. Sometimes I feel like we could be an industry polling company because we've gotten all of this input and feedback, right? But the biggest thing that I've noticed, the company's noticed as a trend, is that it's no longer just about price, right? Like, price is still super important, and it'll always be important moving forward, but there's so many other priorities that have really gained, and sometimes equal priority, or even higher priority than price. For travelers that had to travel during COVID, cost wasn't even a top 5 priority, right? Because first and foremost, safety was the number one thing they had to focus on, and the well-being of the traveler. And once I do get back on the road, what do I need to know about travel during this time? And what will I have access to when I get there? So there's all these kind of new, sometimes they're not new, but just priorities that have kind of gone up in the rank. ESG priorities are huge, environmental, social governance. These initiatives are super high priority for Fortune 500 companies and really all companies, and they're ready to move the needle on them, right? I mean, they're ready to do something more than just write them down on a piece of paper, but actually start to make progress towards them, and that's a huge trend that we're seeing.
Well, that's fantastic, and I think you've given us a lot to consider. So let's share what companies should know about Tripkicks, and we'll dive right in.
Awesome, perfect. Again, thanks for the opportunity. Thrilled to be with the team and to announce our partnership and really focus just for a few minutes on what it is that Tripkicks is actually bringing to our clients. We're on a mission to make business travel better, and there's so many things that can be better, right? There's so many things that we can kind of add to this travel experience. Our company is an add-on to business travel programs. So we work with existing technologies and booking tools, and we're looking to influence traveler behavior and really empower travelers with the knowledge so that they can have the most successful trip possible. We kind of group our different solutions or tools into these three categories: insights, guidance, and motivators. And you'll kind of see that as I go throughout the demo. But as you mentioned, insights is kind of was our main focus as we relaunched Tripkicks during COVID. And we think it's really important that travelers have this information directly within the online booking tool, right? So they don't have to leave the tool to go Google, this type of information and potentially see, sources that maybe aren't accurate or maybe, out of date. So our insights cover a pretty wide gamut. The way we present this information is within a banner directly within the search results of the booking tool. So within Concur Travel, this banner you see here appears at the top of their search results. And it's really a prioritized list of the most important things the traveler needs to know about their trip. So things like entry restrictions, they go to the top of the list, right? You can see that's color coded in red. Probably the most important thing a traveler needs to know about traveling, in this example, to France, is that there's a restriction in place for unvaccinated travelers. So they can see all of the COVID stuff, right? Entry restrictions, quarantine requirements, whether testing is required, documentation forms, health attestation forms, anything that's required for their trip to happen appears here. But we also bring a lot of other insights about the trip. So we can bring forth information about travel alerts and safety bulletins specific to their destination. All of our insights are always taking into account the origin and the destination. So for things like quarantine requirements, if that exists for the return trip home, which still does in some destinations, Tripkicks presents information on that. But these supplier insights, this is something that we're really excited about, and we're launching additional ones now. You guys are kind of seeing the first take on some of our new supplier insights. But these are all the different insights that maybe would help a traveler choose an option that's best for them specifically or best for their company. We can call attention to flights and hotels that are more eco-friendly than others. For flights, we can call attention to the ones that are historically most often on time. For lodging, we've got a lot of additional insights that we're bringing forth now. We can let travelers know if the property is a minority-owned property. We can let travelers know if there's things like security out front, maybe armed security if you're traveling to a destination where that's important. Things like, does it have a woman-owned floor? I'm sorry, not woman-owned, a woman-only floor. Right, so these things that are important for security and really health and wellness of travelers, we're making available and showing in our supplier insights. But then lastly, we can bring forth custom insights too. So a lot of programs have a lot of just really valuable data on the preferred suppliers in their program. And so if that's true, we can actually bring in that data that the company has specific to their suppliers in their program and make that shown within the booking tool.
So it's a lot of information, and I think that our travelers can appreciate, right, that they don't have to open up 20, Google Chrome tabs and try to find all this information themselves. But can you just tell our listeners where is the data being sourced to keep up with the constantly changing travel requirements? Are they in real time? How do you make sure that they're reputable sources?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's probably the most common one that I hear. everything is in real time, so I'll start with that. We have API connections into our product. What's great about Tripkicks is we work with a number of different data partners to power all of our insights. In determining what types of data we thought would be beneficial to provide travelers with, we not only had to understand what is the data, but also, how is this data collected? How do our partners, receive this data? For an example, is the data a key component of their business, or is it something that's temporary, maybe just for COVID, and it's eventually going to go away? So we want to partner with companies that this data is their wheelhouse. This is their business. Some of our partners are ATPCO and Cirium. ATPCO, being owned by the airlines ensures that this content is highly reliable. It's always up to date, and it's never going anywhere. And much like your announcement with Sherpa being a partner of JTB, Sherpa is a big partner of ours. We began working with them before COVID, actually. They're a global provider of visas, and so we felt they were just really uniquely positioned to aggregate the data with great accuracy. And they're now a leader in providing this, kind of COVID travel restriction data.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were chatting with Cirium last month, and it really just blew us away how much data that they have at their fingertips.
Yeah, they're one of our many great partners that we're happy to work with.
So I know that we have half an hour reserved just to keep on track. Can you just tell us a little bit about the guidance and motivators before we jump into the demo?
Yeah, what we're looking to do with these kind of two parts of our product, guidance is helping travelers understand, maybe what's the best choice for their program, right? We can guide travelers to the most preferred option. Companies can set up custom messages and tips and notes that are linked directly with those different supplier options to inform travelers on what's best for them and what's best for their company. And then, the way motivators work is we can bring in kind of this additional level of motivation for a traveler to choose something that the program wants them to choose, right? So we could say, all right, maybe we offer the ability for a traveler to earn a carbon offset if they choose an option that maybe it's less expensive, or maybe it's, most preferred, or maybe there's a new preferred supplier within the program that the company's trying to shift travelers to choose. Maybe we tie a $20 Amazon gift card to it. So we've got a couple different options there, as well as the ability to bring in custom motivators. Think of this like if a company has an employee store, maybe they want to allow the traveler to earn things from the employee store. We could integrate with those custom options as well.
Okay, that's awesome. So maybe it'll make more sense when we go into the live demo, and then you can tell us a little bit more about the rewards program. So I'm going to make you a presenter so you can walk us through what that looks like.
Perfect. So I've got Concur open here. And if I were to go into Concur today without Tripkicks, let's say I wanted to book a trip to Tokyo. I've got that queued up here. I could do that. I could purchase my ticket, be on my way, and no issues, right? Well, not exactly. Without Tripkicks, I'm not going to see anything about the fact that there's entry restrictions in place and I can't even get into Tokyo, right? So you can see this banner appears at the top of my search results. As I mentioned, I've got all of the really important stuff listed. I can see more information on each one of these insights. So if I click on the entry restriction, I can see the exceptions for that, who's actually able to enter Tokyo. And with each one of these, we link back to the source, so travelers could go directly there if they want to see more information. You can see that I've also got information on COVID. We have statistics on infection rate and even the percentage of the population at the destination that's vaccinated. With my supplier options, I can see American Airlines flight here. This is an option that is being displayed as one of the most eco-friendly, or one of the options with the least emissions possible. So the way this works is we've got these different supplier insights that I mentioned, and we have little icons for them whenever they're lit up. A traveler can hover over it and see more information about that. So I can see on time here and options that have the most seats available. If I go into lodging, because I know we're pressed on time here, I'm going to go quick. You can see I've got a hotel queued up here for Denver. Obviously, I've got the COVID stuff that I mentioned, but you can see the possibility of custom notes and text as well, right? So here's a tip. If I'm going to the Denver office, I should take the A-line train, because it is a quick ride, it's inexpensive, and it drops me off right in front of my most preferred option, which is the Hyatt Place Denver. So I can put custom messaging at the top in my banner. Maybe I want to let travelers know about the return to travel guide. I can also put custom notes directly next to the supplier options. So I could call attention to properties that are maybe most preferred and let the travelers know why, right? It's within walking distance to the office and great restaurants, so it's a good choice. Lastly, I'll mention we've got the Supplier Insights here as well. So we can call attention to properties that have things like a LEED certification. We just partnered with an organization called Green Key Global, so we can call attention to hotels that are more sustainable than others, as well as the ones that maybe have business friendly amenities that are appropriate for your trip.
That's all really super helpful information. Looking at the Tripkicks budget, can you share with us a little bit more about the rewards program? Like what kind of feedback are you hearing from your clients? Like what savings are they seeing?
Yeah, it's really actually pretty exciting for me on our webinar today, because we're announcing kind of the new way that we're envisioning rewards within our program. In the past, it was really just essentially if you beat the budget, you could earn rewards based upon how much money you saved the company. But now we're kind of thinking of this more so in a way that travel managers can activate rewards in the form of like a motivation to choose one option over the other. So instead of it being like, the difference between the budget and the booked amount is the amount of rewards they could earn, they could just take a set amount, like a $20 Amazon gift card, and say, hey, whenever we can move travelers from one property to another, or to make a different decision that's better for the company, maybe better for the planet, we can motivate them to do that with the form of reward or a carbon offset. We've kind of seen a little bit of a shift here, again, aligning to what I said earlier about costs not being the highest priority right now. But we really kind of believe in the power of using some sort of a just small motivator, some sort of an incentive to, help move the needle on these things.
Absolutely. Guidance is super appreciated. So that's new and exciting, and we're happy to hear it first here. So thank you for sharing with us. As we wrap up our session, let's launch our last poll. We want to keep this interactive with our listeners, so we have one last poll that we are going to share.
Tatiana, can you share the screen, please?
Yep. And so you should be able to see our last poll. So we want to ask our travelers, how much time are you spending searching for travel requirements before you book a trip? 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or you just skip that whole process and talk to the experts on that and call a JTB Business Travel Advisor. I think that, Steve, after seeing what you've shown us, that they'll see the value of how much time hopefully they can save. Do you have any, happy testimonials from your clients about how much time they're saving?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just being able to have that direction, right? For a lot of programs, travelers felt a little lost. The travel manager is doing everything they can to stay up to date on all of this stuff, but oh my gosh, it's changing so frequently, in some cases weekly or even daily. So the biggest kind of, testament to the success of our product is that they feel like they've got better direction. And of course, that helps save time in the process as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like the majority of our listeners are spending more than half an hour or even needing to speak to an advisor. So I think Tripkicks is going to be an awesome solution to save them time, to save them having to contact an advisor, and to be able to make those travel decisions on their own. This has been so great chatting with you, Steve. It was the fastest, I think, 30 minutes of my day. I know that we covered a lot, but before we let you go, we want to wrap up looking ahead and looking forward. If we were to jump into a time machine and in a couple of years this craziness is all a distant memory, where is Tripkicks going? Where's your compass pointing on the roadmap?
It's all about insights and guidance on anything that's relevant or important or beneficial for the traveler in the travel program, right? So more than just what can the traveler do and not do, we're focused on helping travelers make decisions that are in line with the goals of the program, in line with the personal goals of the traveler and their own social responsibility, but also the goals and initiatives of the company that they work for. For us, this means a deep focus on ESG, environmental, social, governance, diversity and inclusion, and really just anything that we can do to make it easier for programs to align these initiatives with the decisions that business travelers are making.
Well, we can't wait to see how Tripkicks will evolve. You're definitely a company and technology to watch. So we want to thank you for your time and expertise, and we had so much fun chatting with you today.
Thanks so much for the kind words. Super excited about our partnership and here for any clients if any questions come up.
Yeah, absolutely. So just looking ahead, here's our friendly reminder to make sure you join the upcoming webinars, like when we'll be discussing Crisis 24 in October. You don't want to miss it. I hope we see everyone there, and tell your colleagues to join us as well. We know that Tripkicks is going to be a fantastic tool for your company in this new and ever-changing landscape. So please contact your client development manager if you have any questions about implementing this technology. And this concludes our September session of Tech Talk. Again, thanks, Steve, and thanks everyone who was able to dial in and spend some time with us. I hope, and our goal is always, that you walk away feeling great about the technology that's able to support your travels. Our contact information is right here should you have any questions, and we look forward to chatting with you all, and we'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.